Welcome to the Hidden Wealth Coins. Imagine a single penny sitting forgotten in a drawer, worth more than houses, cars, even lifetimes of work. These wheat pennies are not ordinary coins, they are silent jackpots hiding in plain sight. Born during war, hardship, and rebuilding, some carry rare secrets that can turn cents into millions overnight. If you own one and sell it blindly, you could lose a fortune forever without ever knowing its true power. First up, the wheat penny is not just a small copper coin from the past. It is a silent witness to American history, ambition, survival, and hidden fortune. When people hear 1948 wheat penny, most imagine an ordinary 1-cent coin, something common and forgettable. But history has a strange habit of hiding extraordinary value inside ordinary objects. In the years following World War II, America was rebuilding itself, industries were shifting, metals were being reused, and the U.S. Mint was operating under intense pressure. Coins produced during this era carry stories pressed deep into their metal, and some of those stories are worth far more than their face value. The 1948 wheat penny belongs to this mysterious chapter, where a single cent can quietly hold the power to change a life overnight. The wheat penny design itself already makes the coin historically powerful. Introduced in 1909 to honor Abraham Lincoln, it was the first circulating U.S. coin to feature a real person. By 1948, this design had already been in use for nearly 4 decades, making it familiar to the public yet deeply symbolic. The 2 wheat stalks on the reverse represent prosperity, unity, and growth, values America desperately needed after the devastation of global war. Every wheat penny minted in that period carries the emotional weight of a nation trying to rise again, and collectors today do not just buy metal, they buy history frozen in copper. What makes the 1948 wheat penny special is not merely the year but the circumstances under which it was made. Post-war minting conditions were far from perfect. Machinery was worn, metal supplies varied, and quality control was inconsistent. These conditions created the perfect environment for minting anomalies: tiny differences, rare errors, unusual strikes, and unexpected metal compositions. Most coins were normal, but a very small number escaped the mint with characteristics so rare that they would later become legends. These rare survivors are the reason some 1948 wheat pennies today are whispered about in collector circles as million-dollar treasures. The true value of a 1948 wheat penny begins with condition, but it does not end there. A coin preserved in pristine, untouched condition is already desirable, but when combined with rare mint characteristics, the value can explode beyond imagination. Coins that avoided circulation entirely, retaining original luster, sharp details, and flawless surfaces, become time capsules. When such coins are paired with unusual mint behavior, like doubled impressions, off-metal strikes, or microscopic design variations, they transform from currency into artifacts. These are the kinds of coins that auction houses fight over, not because of hype, but because of extreme scarcity. Collectors understand something most people overlook: rarity is born from mistakes, survival, and timing. Millions of wheat pennies were melted, lost, or destroyed over decades. Very few remained untouched. Even fewer carried unusual traits. And only a microscopic number exist today in elite condition with extraordinary characteristics. These coins are not discovered every day. Sometimes they sit unnoticed in old jars, inherited collections, or forgotten drawers. History is full of stories where a simple cent, ignored for decades, suddenly reappeared and shocked the world with its value. The idea that a penny could be worth millions sounds unbelievable, yet it happens because collectors do not value coins the way ordinary people do. They see beyond denomination. They analyze metal flow, die alignment, pressure marks, and strike depth. A 1948 wheat penny with a rare mint error or exceptional preservation becomes a once-in-a-generation opportunity. When demand from elite collectors collides with extreme scarcity, prices no longer follow logic, they follow obsession. That is when values jump from thousands to millions, not slowly, but suddenly. Another reason the 1948 wheat penny carries mythical status is its place in the timeline of American coinage. It comes from the final era before major changes in minting technology and design philosophy. Coins from this transitional period represent the end of traditional craftsmanship and the beginning of modern mass production. Collectors treasure these moments of change. They are like fossils from the moment history turned a corner. Owning such a coin is like owning a fragment of that turning point, and the market rewards that significance heavily. Many people make the mistake of judging a coin by how common the date sounds. 1948 doesn't sound rare, they say, and that misunderstanding causes fortunes to be lost. Value is not about the year alone, it is about the story the coin tells. Two coins from the same year can have radically different destinies. One may be worth a few cents, while another, nearly identical to the naked eye, could be valued in the millions. The difference lies in microscopic details that only experts recognize, details that were never meant to exist. The danger lies in selling such coins too quickly, without understanding what they truly are. History is filled with tragic examples of rare coins sold for pocket change, only to resurface later as headline-making treasures. Once a rare coin leaves your hands, its story continues without you. That is why patience, knowledge, and proper evaluation are critical. A genuine rare 1948 wheat penny does not demand desperation, it demands respect. It waits silently until the right moment, the right buyer, and the right stage. What makes this even more fascinating is the psychological power of the wheat penny. It represents hope, the idea that something small can hold unimaginable potential. During the years it circulated, Americans used these pennies without a second thought. Today, those same pennies remind us that value is not always visible. Sometimes it hides in plain sight, waiting for the right eyes to recognize it. That is why collectors call coins like this sleeping giants. In the modern market, rare wheat pennies are no longer just collectibles, they are assets. Serious investors treat them like fine art or rare diamonds. They are insured, documented, and fiercely protected. When one appears at auction, it is not just money on the table, it is prestige. Owning a legendary coin elevates status within elite circles. That social value adds another invisible layer to its worth, pushing prices into territory that feels unreal to the average person. The 1948 wheat penny, when it carries the right traits, becomes more than metal, it becomes destiny. It is a reminder that history does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it whispers from the bottom of a box, from an old envelope, or from a forgotten collection. That whisper can turn into a roar that changes lives overnight. This is why such coins should never be dismissed, rushed, or undervalued. In the end, the story of the 1948 wheat penny is a story of hidden power. It teaches that wealth does not always look wealthy, that history rewards those who pay attention, and that fortune often hides where no one thinks to look. If such a coin ever finds its way into your possession, remember this: true value reveals itself only to those patient enough to listen to history, not rush to silence it. Next up, the 1935 wheat penny is one of those coins that looks harmless, ordinary, and almost invisible to the untrained eye, yet beneath its copper surface lies a story powerful enough to shake beliefs about money, history, and fortune itself. Born during one of America's most fragile decades, this coin carries the weight of survival, struggle, and silent endurance. The mid-1930s were years when the United States was clawing its way out of economic darkness, and every coin minted during this period became a tool of hope, exchanged hand to hand by people who believed tomorrow could be better than today. That belief is permanently sealed inside the 1935 wheat penny, making it far more than a 1-cent piece. By 1935, the wheat penny design had already become a symbol of national identity. Abraham Lincoln's face, calm yet firm, represented unity during chaos, while the wheat ears on the reverse symbolized nourishment, resilience, and continuity. These coins circulated during the final years of the Great Depression, meaning they passed through the hands of factory workers, farmers, shopkeepers, and families fighting to survive. Each penny absorbed a piece of that struggle, and some emerged from the mint with unique characteristics that separated them from the millions of others. Those few became survivors in a different sense, survivors destined for extraordinary futures. What transforms a 1935 wheat penny from common to legendary is not time alone, but circumstance. Minting during this era was imperfect. Machines were aging, dies were reused beyond ideal limits, and human oversight varied from day to day. Under these conditions, subtle differences appeared, tiny shifts in alignment, pressure, and metal flow that were never intended to exist. Most coins were spent, worn down, and forgotten. But a rare few escaped circulation entirely, preserving their original surfaces as if frozen in the moment they were born. These untouched examples are where unimaginable value begins to take shape. Condition plays a silent but ruthless role in the fate of a coin. A 1935 wheat penny that never felt the friction of daily use becomes a relic of untouched history. Its sharp edges, glowing surfaces, and crisp details speak directly to collectors who understand that perfection from this era is almost impossible. When such condition combines with rare mint behavior, the coin stops being money and becomes an event. It becomes something that cannot simply be replaced, no matter the price. This is how values stretch beyond logic and enter the realm of millions. Collectors are drawn to the 1935 wheat penny because it represents a turning point. It belongs to a generation that witnessed the slow return of confidence in America. It was minted before the chaos of another global war, before major changes in industry and metal usage reshaped coinage forever. That placement in history gives it emotional gravity. People do not just collect these coins for profit, they collect them to own a piece of humanity's persistence. When emotion meets scarcity, prices do not climb, they leap. The myth of overnight fortune surrounding rare wheat pennies is rooted in real stories of rediscovery. Coins once dismissed as spare change later emerged as treasures after careful examination. A single cent, stored away unknowingly, can suddenly reveal details that rewrite its destiny. This possibility fuels obsession among collectors. They know that the next great discovery may already exist, hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone patient enough to look closer rather than spend quickly. What many people fail to understand is that rarity is not always loud. The 1935 wheat penny does not scream its value. It whispers it. The differences that make it extraordinary are often invisible to casual observation. This is why selling such a coin without deep understanding can be a tragic mistake. Once released, it may never return. History shows that many priceless coins were lost forever because someone underestimated the quiet power they held. In elite collecting circles, a rare 1935 wheat penny is not just an object, it is a status symbol. Ownership signals knowledge, patience, and access. These coins are pursued not only by collectors but by investors who see them as permanent stores of value. Unlike paper money, they cannot be printed again. Their supply only shrinks with time, while desire grows stronger. That imbalance is what creates explosive worth. The copper itself feels different to those who understand coins. It carries a warmth that modern metals lack. It reminds collectors of craftsmanship rather than automation. Holding a pristine 1935 wheat penny feels like touching a moment that escaped decay. This emotional connection intensifies demand, and demand is the heartbeat of value. When multiple collectors want the same irreplaceable object, price becomes secondary. Stories surrounding rare wheat pennies often sound unbelievable, yet they persist because the market has proven them possible. A coin's journey from pocket change to auction centerpiece is not fantasy, it is history repeating itself. The 1935 wheat penny belongs to this lineage of transformation, where neglect turns into reverence and simplicity turns into wealth. The real danger lies in impatience. Selling a potentially rare coin quickly is like tearing pages out of a history book before reading them. Time is a coin's greatest ally. As decades pass, fewer examples remain, and the ones that do grow stronger in value. The 1935 wheat penny does not reward haste, it rewards understanding. Ultimately, this coin teaches a timeless lesson. True power often hides in the smallest forms. What appears insignificant can carry the weight of generations. The 1935 wheat penny is not just copper, it is memory, survival, and possibility pressed into metal. For those who recognize its quiet authority, it holds the power to rewrite destiny overnight, not through magic, but through history itself. Next up, the 1955 wheat penny stands like a quiet thunderstorm in the world of American coinage, unassuming at first glance yet carrying an energy that has stunned collectors for generations. Born in the middle of a booming post-war America, this small copper coin entered circulation during a time of optimism, expansion, and confidence. Families were growing, industries were accelerating, and money was moving faster than ever before. Amid this rush, few noticed that something extraordinary had slipped into the stream of everyday change. What appeared to be a simple 1-cent coin was actually becoming one of the most talked about and powerful symbols of hidden value in modern numismatic history. By 1955, the wheat penny design had already earned deep respect. Abraham Lincoln's image had guided the nation through decades of transformation, and the wheat ears on the reverse still spoke of nourishment, stability, and tradition. Yet this year carried a different kind of legacy. The U.S. Mint was operating at high speed to meet demand, and when speed overtakes perfection, history has a way of intervening. Coins struck during such moments sometimes carry unintended characteristics, and those characteristics become their identity. The 1955 wheat penny emerged from this environment not as a mistake, but as a phenomenon. What makes this coin legendary is the way it challenges assumptions about perfection and value. The idea that a coin created during routine production could later be spoken of in terms of unimaginable wealth seems almost absurd. Yet collectors learned long ago that rarity is not always planned. Sometimes it is born in moments of human limitation and mechanical fatigue. When a coin leaves the mint carrying something unexpected, it becomes a historical outlier. And outliers are what collectors chase with passion that borders on obsession. The real magic of the 1955 wheat penny lies in how dramatically it separates itself from its peers. Millions were minted, spent, worn, and forgotten. But a small number emerged carrying characteristics that set them apart so clearly that even ordinary people sensed something was different. Those coins traveled through pockets and cash registers, sometimes unnoticed, sometimes questioned, until time revealed their significance. Survival became their greatest achievement. Every year that passed reduced their numbers, sharpening their rarity like a blade. Condition transforms this coin from famous to legendary. A 1955 wheat penny that avoided heavy circulation becomes a mirror into the past. Its surfaces tell stories without words, its sharp details whispering of the moment it was born. When collectors encounter such a piece, they are not just seeing copper, they are witnessing a preserved moment in American history. That preservation is priceless, because time is ruthless, and anything that defeats it earns respect beyond money. The belief that a single penny can change a life overnight is rooted in the psychology of discovery. The 1955 wheat penny symbolizes hope for the unnoticed and overlooked. It represents the idea that fortune does not always announce itself with noise. Sometimes it hides quietly, waiting for curiosity instead of greed. This is why experienced collectors warn against rushing. A coin like this demands understanding, not impulse. Selling it without knowledge is like closing a history book before the final chapter. What elevates the 1955 wheat penny into the realm of million-dollar conversation is demand fueled by legend. Stories surrounding this coin circulate like folklore, not because they are exaggerated, but because they are rare. When a coin develops a reputation strong enough to cross generations, it becomes immortal in the market. Collectors compete not just to own it, but to be part of its story. That competition bends prices beyond expectation. This coin also represents a shift in how people view money itself. It blurs the line between currency and artifact. The 1955 wheat penny is no longer just a medium of exchange, it is a symbol of awareness. Those who recognize its power see it as an asset, a historical document, and a store of value all at once. Unlike paper wealth, it cannot be inflated away. Its strength lies in scarcity and desire, two forces that never weaken together. The emotional weight of this penny cannot be ignored. Holding one in exceptional condition feels different. It carries warmth, age, and presence. Collectors describe an unspoken connection, as if the coin knows it survived something others did not. That emotional bond adds an invisible premium, one that price guides cannot measure. Emotion drives markets just as much as logic, and the 1955 wheat penny thrives at that intersection. Many fortunes are lost not through bad luck, but through misunderstanding. The greatest danger surrounding this coin is underestimation. History shows again and again that rare coins often leave families forever because someone treated them like ordinary change. Once gone, they are rarely recovered. That loss is not just financial, it is historical. Each rare coin removed from its original story takes part of that story with it. The 1955 wheat penny teaches patience more than anything else. It rewards those who pause, examine, and respect what they hold. Its value does not shout. It grows quietly, year by year, as fewer examples remain and more people learn its significance. Time works in its favor, and time is the most powerful force in collecting. In the modern world, where digital wealth appears and disappears instantly, this coin stands as a reminder that true value often survives through simplicity. It does not rely on trends or technology. It relies on history, scarcity, and human fascination. These elements never go out of style. That is why serious collectors guard such coins with almost reverent care. In the end, the 1955 wheat penny is not about luck, it is about recognition. It proves that something small can carry extraordinary power, that history rewards those who listen closely, and that fortune often hides where impatience cannot see. For those who understand it, this coin holds the quiet ability to change destiny overnight, not by magic, but by the undeniable weight of history pressed into copper. Next up, the 1945 wheat penny is not just a coin, it is a silent witness to the moment when the world exhaled after years of destruction. Struck in the final year of World War II, this small copper cent carries the emotional weight of victory, loss, hope, and rebirth. While soldiers were returning home and nations were rebuilding their identities, this penny entered circulation quietly, passing through hands that had endured hardship unlike anything before. At first glance, it looks ordinary, even forgettable, yet history often hides its most powerful artifacts in the smallest forms. The 1945 wheat penny belongs to that category of objects whose true value is not obvious, but overwhelming once understood. By the time this coin was minted, the wheat penny design had already become deeply rooted in American life. Abraham Lincoln's calm and determined expression symbolized endurance, while the wheat ears on the reverse spoke of nourishment and renewal. In 1945, these symbols carried extra meaning. America was standing at the edge of a new era, and every coin produced during this time became part of that transition. The metal used, the pressure applied, and the environment of production all contributed to subtle differences that would later separate ordinary coins from extraordinary ones. Minting during wartime and immediate post-war conditions was far from perfect. Resources had been strained, machinery overworked, and priorities focused on speed rather than flawless consistency. Under such conditions, coins sometimes emerged with characteristics that were never intended to exist. Most were spent quickly, worn down by daily life, and lost to time. But a very small number escaped circulation, preserving their original form as if sealed in history. These survivors became the foundation of legends surrounding the 1945 wheat penny. Condition is where this coin's destiny truly changes. A 1945 wheat penny that remained untouched, free from heavy wear, becomes a time capsule from one of the most important years in modern history. Its sharp details and preserved surfaces speak directly to collectors who understand how rare perfection is from this era. When time fails to erase a coin's identity, collectors see something priceless. Such coins do not compete with others, they stand alone. The idea that a single penny can hold unimaginable wealth is not fantasy. It is the result of scarcity colliding with human desire. As decades passed, fewer and fewer high-quality examples remained. Each lost coin increased the value of the survivors. The market does not reward abundance, it rewards survival. And the 1945 wheat penny, when preserved under exceptional circumstances, becomes a symbol of survival on multiple levels, both historical and physical. Collectors are drawn to this coin because it represents closure. It marks the end of a global conflict and the beginning of a new economic and cultural chapter. Owning such a coin is like owning the final sentence of a painful but transformative story. That emotional connection drives demand far beyond logic. When collectors compete for something that cannot be recreated, price becomes secondary to possession. The danger surrounding the 1945 wheat penny lies in misunderstanding its silence. This coin does not announce its power. It does not glitter or shine aggressively. Its strength lies in subtlety. Many valuable coins have been lost forever because someone saw only a cent instead of history. Once sold cheaply, such coins rarely return to their original path. They move forward into private collections, vaults, and auction halls, leaving regret behind. What elevates this coin into million-dollar conversation is not just rarity, but narrative. Coins with stories outlive coins with numbers. The 1945 wheat penny tells a story of endurance, relief, and rebirth. It carries the fingerprints of a generation that survived the unthinkable. That story adds a layer of value no guidebook can calculate, and collectors feel it the moment they hold the coin. In elite circles, rare wheat pennies are treated like historical documents rather than currency. They are studied, protected, and respected. A 1945 example in exceptional condition becomes a centerpiece, not because of its size, but because of its significance. Such coins are not bought casually. They are pursued deliberately, often over years, sometimes over lifetimes. The emotional gravity of this penny cannot be ignored. Its copper feels warmer than modern coins, heavier with meaning. It reminds collectors that real value is often born during hardship, not abundance. That connection creates loyalty, and loyalty fuels markets. When enough people care deeply about something irreplaceable, its value becomes almost limitless. History has shown that fortunes are often missed not through lack of opportunity, but through impatience. The 1945 wheat penny rewards those who pause, learn, and respect what they hold. Time works in favor of rare coins, and every passing year strengthens their position. Selling too quickly cuts that process short and transfers destiny to someone else. In a world where wealth appears and disappears digitally, this coin stands as a reminder that true value can survive generations unchanged. It does not depend on trends, technology, or noise. It depends on history, scarcity, and human fascination, forces that never lose power. That is why serious collectors treat such coins with reverence. In the end, the 1945 wheat penny is a lesson pressed into copper. It teaches that the smallest things can carry the heaviest stories, that history often whispers instead of shouting, and that fortune rewards those who recognize meaning before price. For anyone who truly understands it, this coin holds the quiet ability to change a life overnight, not by magic, but by the unstoppable weight of history itself. Next up, the 1944 wheat penny is not merely a coin from the past. It is a survivor born in the middle of global chaos, carrying the emotional weight of a world at war. As nations were burning, factories were roaring, and lives were being rewritten forever, this small copper cent quietly entered circulation in the United States. People spent it without thought, yet history was already pressing itself into its surface. The year 1944 was not ordinary, and nothing created during that time was truly simple. Every object made then absorbed tension, urgency, and purpose, and the wheat penny from this year became a silent witness to one of humanity's most intense moments. By 1944, the wheat penny design had already become a familiar companion to American life. Abraham Lincoln's face symbolized unity and resolve, while the wheat ears on the reverse stood for survival and sustenance. During wartime, these symbols took on deeper meaning. Food was precious, metal was strategic, and production was driven by necessity rather than perfection. Coins minted under such pressure often carry subtle differences that were never meant to exist. These differences, invisible at first, later became the heartbeat of rarity. The environment in which the 1944 wheat penny was created was unlike peacetime production. Resources were stretched thin, priorities were focused on speed, and machinery endured constant use. Under such strain, coins sometimes emerged with characteristics that broke from the norm. Most were spent quickly, worn down by anxious hands and daily survival. But a very small number escaped heavy circulation, preserving their original identity like sealed messages from the past. Those survivors are where legend begins. Condition transforms this penny from historical artifact into unimaginable wealth. A 1944 wheat penny that avoided damage, friction, and corrosion becomes a mirror reflecting a moment frozen in time. Its sharp details and untouched surfaces speak louder than words to those who understand rarity. Time is ruthless, and anything that defeats it earns respect beyond logic. When collectors encounter such a coin, they are not evaluating copper, they are confronting history that refused to fade. The belief that a single penny can hold life-changing value is rooted in scarcity, not fantasy. As decades passed, countless 1944 wheat pennies disappeared forever, melted, lost, or destroyed by neglect. With every loss, the remaining examples grew stronger in value. The market rewards what cannot be replaced, and nothing from 1944 can ever be made again. That finality is powerful, and collectors feel it deeply. What elevates the 1944 wheat penny into million-dollar conversation is not noise, but silence. This coin does not announce its importance. It hides it. Many fortunes have slipped away simply because someone mistook quietness for worthlessness. History is full of rare coins sold cheaply, only to reappear later as centerpieces of elite collections. Once such a coin leaves careless hands, it rarely returns. Collectors are drawn to the 1944 wheat penny because it represents endurance. It was born during destruction yet survived into peace. That emotional journey matters. Coins with stories outlive coins with statistics. When a collector holds this penny, they are holding the weight of a generation that endured fear, sacrifice, and uncertainty. That emotional gravity drives desire far beyond rational pricing. In elite numismatic circles, rare wheat pennies are treated like historical documents. They are studied, protected, and spoken of with respect. A pristine 1944 example is not displayed casually, it is guarded. Ownership becomes a statement of understanding rather than wealth. That status adds an invisible premium, one that grows with time and scarcity. The copper of this coin feels different to those who recognize its age. It carries warmth, memory, and resistance. Unlike modern currency, it was not designed for convenience but for endurance. That physical presence strengthens its appeal. People do not simply want to own it, they want to preserve it. Preservation becomes purpose, and purpose fuels value. Many people lose potential fortunes not through bad luck, but through impatience. The 1944 wheat penny demands respect and time. It rewards those who pause and learn. Selling such a coin quickly is like tearing pages out of history before reading them. Once gone, its future belongs to someone else, and regret often follows silently. As years pass, fewer high-quality examples remain. Time works like a filter, leaving only the strongest survivors behind. That process never stops. With each passing decade, the remaining 1944 wheat pennies grow rarer, more desirable, and more powerful in the market. Patience becomes profit. In a world obsessed with speed and digital wealth, this coin stands as a reminder that true value can be slow, solid, and silent. It does not depend on trends or technology. It depends on history, scarcity, and human fascination, forces that never weaken. That is why serious collectors trust coins like this more than fleeting assets. In the end, the 1944 wheat penny is a lesson pressed into metal. It proves that the smallest objects can carry the heaviest stories, that history often whispers instead of shouting, and that fortune rewards those who recognize meaning before price. For anyone who truly understands it, this coin holds the quiet power to change destiny overnight, not by magic, but by the unstoppable weight of history itself.